Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Sam, and this is the Independent Musicians Guide podcast, and this is episode number 3. And on this week's episode, I kind of sat down with Blake for, I'd say, about an hour or so and kind of picked his brain about a lot of different stuff. Blake is a longtime friend of mine. I'd say we've probably known each other for about a decade. We kind of met in the music industry way back when we were pretty much kids, and it was really cool. I got to kind of pick his brain about a lot of different info. He's a musician, and he is also a radio DJ. So behind the mic, whether it's on stage or from the radio station, he has a lot of info to give in this podcast, so it's really cool. You guys make sure that you're paying attention because he's got some really good pointers to give you guys. The cool thing about Blake is probably doesn't spare anybody's feelings when it comes to just giving advice. I think a lot of radio folks will probably not tell you the truth about some stuff because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Blake will hurt your feelings, and he won't apologize about it either. So it's really cool to finally get him in and kind of sit down. We talk about a lot of different things, just from performance to radio stuff to being a dad, because we're both dads now. It's kind of weird, but and also just how to be nice to people in the music industry. But we talk about performing, whether you're performing in venues or casinos or full band gigs, solo gigs, some of the financial aspects of some stuff, what to do and what not to do. If you're an artist and you're trying to get played on the radio, and we kind of talk about a lot of different stuff. We're probably going to do a part 2 with Blake at some point. I'm not really sure. But I was really excited to finally sit him down. We want to give a quick thank you to sponsor Buffalo Apparel Company. If you guys are not familiar with Buffalo Apparel Company, then you need to probably just put on their clothes as soon as you can. Go to buffaloapparelco.com and check out some stuff. And I'm pretty sure we will have a promo code for you guys to use here on the podcast very soon. And with that, any further ado, let's get into this. Hey guys, what is going on? This is the Independent Musicians Guide podcast, and I'm sitting here with a good friend, Mr. Blake.
What's up, man?
So this is Blake Turner, everybody, and this is going to be a pretty cool episode because not only do we have a fellow musician that's a pretty experienced musician, but we have somebody that is also a radio DJ.
Yeah, best of both worlds, right? Or worst of both worlds. It depends on.
He's the Hannah Montana of red dirt music.
I should have picked a different name so I would have a real me and a fake me.
You still can.
It's not too late.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll think of something by the end of this thing.
From what I know of you, because we met 10 years ago.
That's crazy, but yeah 10 years ago.
And we met. Do you remember how we met?
I mean, was it through Javen?
Javen was there. Yeah, Javen.
Okay.
Was there. So
I don't remember exactly how we met.
We were doing the jazz. No, it was at the jazz club.
Oh,
but it was either for River City Players or it was.
It was Downtown Country.
Downtown Country. Okay.
Yeah. Did you audition?
I did. It was very good. Yeah.
What did you drums?
Drums, but Javen obviously was better than me, and he didn't even get it. Right? Javen didn't even get it.
Javen got it his first year.
Yeah.
And then his second year,
some other kid got it.
Second year, the director's husband decided he wanted to play drums, so Javen kind of got pushed out. Yeah, I know. Great drummers. Everybody's great drummers, though.
Yeah. Javen is the best, though.
Javen's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
We're
all pretty fun. Me, you, Autumn. Javen is a friend of ours. He's from Tello. He graduated here.
Yeah,
right?
he graduated from here, yeah.
And he's amazing. He's filled in for all of us and drummed for all of us and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, we were there, and then you auditioned with a Josh Turner song, and then so I know you get it all the time just from like people.
It's I used to hate it, but now I've kind of realized that's. I just got to lean into that. Yeah. If people think you look and sound like Josh Turner, who are you to tell them any different?
And then when your last name's Turner,
right? Yeah,
it doesn't help your case.
It's like a whole bunch of reasons to be compared to the guy. But I mean, yeah, it used to really bother me.
If you ever get really tired of radio, and then in like 5 or 10 years from now, if I'm off the road, we need to start the Josh Turner experience, and you could be like a tribute act.
There you go.
And I will manage you,
dude. We can go to Branson and get a what do they call those things?
A residency?
Yes, get a residency there at Branson and just ride it out.
Yeah.
Man, we would make so much money.
I have a friend down in McAllen, Texas, which is way down south. And so her name's Lauren, but she looks and sounds and I don't know, like a lot like Taylor Swift. And she's doing something that's like the Taylor Swift experience or something. And I'm always like, man, I wish I could book for her.
Yeah, well, I mean, the legend Jim Paul Blair did it with Hank Sr. for so long here in the area. I mean,
and then that's where you can charge thousands and thousands of dollars. Seriously,
look, your wheels are rolling.
I know. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So that's where we met, and then pretty much since then you've been just playing music, and you were in college at the time, right? You were in college.
Yeah. So I was a sophomore in college when I started at Downtown Country, or DC as we called it, and then.
I wasn't cool enough to call DC.
I was there for. You got to be in, Sam. You got to be in. No
lingo. We
were there for. I think I was in it for 4 years, and we ended up transferring from Tahlequah to the Wagner Civic Center there in Wagner, Oklahoma. And we played that for a few years, or maybe 2 years. I think I was there. It was a lot of fun, and I met some really killer musicians through that. And I'd already been playing a little bit solo acoustically, and I'd played in a couple bands in the bar scene, and so I had a little bit of an idea, but it was very green, really raw product that I was putting out. Yeah. So playing with that really polished group of Downtown Country, which is basically a Branson style show, gave me the opportunity to see how pros do it.
Yeah.
And so then I kind of parlayed that into a little club career for the past 10 years, I guess.
What does like Blake Turner usually do? Like live music? Like what's your main gigs? I don't know.
So I play a lot of casinos.
Right.
Which if you play in the casino circuit, you're going to be basically a cover band.
Right.
And so we do a lot of country music covers, a lot of 90s and early 2000s type, and some Red Dirt.
Some rap medleys.
Some rap medleys. I do one of those. Yeah, some Prince. Throw some Prince in there. So we do a lot of that. And then my acoustic shows, I play a lot of almost all original stuff. Yeah. If the crowd wants to hear something, they've got the right bill in their pocket, then I'll take requests too.
You ever tell people to write the request on a $20 bill?
I do.
Give it up to you?
I do, yeah. And then I tell them I'll give them 10 back if I don't know it.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's a win-win, yeah.
So when it comes down to it, would you rather be doing things like casino shows, or would you rather be doing
the other thing?
Like just
I don't know what the other thing is yet.
That's the other thing.
But I would rather be doing the other thing.
So we're gonna just hop right into this. Okay.
The thing I always say to the guys in the band, and I say to a lot of other musicians up and coming, is sometimes you got to pay the bills and sometimes you got to pay the soul, and the casino gigs pay the bills.
Yeah.
It's not, there are some, that you get a good crowd and something just hits right, and you're able to do both on those nights, and the nights that you can do both of those things, then it really is a good night. But casino gigs for the most part are show up, you're there to be music while people do other things.
Yeah.
But you're well paid to be that music. I like the casino gig because it's been really good to me.
So for people that are wanting to get into casino stuff, which I mean, it's not in every state. You know, what I mean, it's in Oklahoma. They don't have it in Texas. You know, and they have more like Louisiana, New Mexico.
South They've Dakota. Got Kansas.
Oh yeah, Kansas has them.
Yeah, Kansas has a couple casinos.
Iowa. So people that are wanting to do that kind of stuff, like the first time I ever played a casino, I was like, man, like I'm so excited, And then we played Remington Park in OKC, and I was like, man, it's cool. It's cool. I guess the hospitality that a casino will give you is kind of cool, but it's a lot. I guess talk about the pay from like a venue versus like the pay from a casino.
Oh, it's double. It's
because
double.
It's probably
sometimes
double,
it's at least double. Sometimes it's even more than that. It just depends on the gig. There are the benefits of playing casino are obviously you're playing with top shelf equipment.
Yeah.
You don't have to run your own sound. It's a plug and play. You show up, you do the gig, you play 3 hours, you're at 3-hour sets with 2 30-minute breaks in between.
Sometimes you don't even have to bring your own drum set.
No. Sometimes they've got their own electric kit or their own acoustic kit, just depending on the venue. And so there are definitely big time pluses to playing the casinos.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody that wants to get casinos, if you are a cover act, you want to play casinos.
I know people that make a living literally off of playing casinos.
Oh, yeah.
Like Travis Kidd, for instance. And he
is phenomenal.
And he's not sitting probably bad
No,
at all.
He's the best. And I would say he's the best
He's the best at what he's doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
It just, his band is so tight. And he understands how to play the game. He knows what his job is. His job is to show up and play what the crowd wants to hear. And I think if you can do that and put on that entertainer cap and be a full-on entertainer, then you want to play casinos. Yeah. I mean, there's just no better gig, especially in the state of Oklahoma. You're not going to find one that pays better, that is as easy.
Yeah.
I mean, and once you're in, you're in.
And you can get cash in hand at the end. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah, I was talking to Travis, I think like a year or two ago. It's probably 2 years ago. This is before the pandemic and stuff. And I was like, dude, how do you do it? Because that guy will do like an afternoon show or like an early show or something.
Yeah.
And then like 3 or 4 hours, then he'll go play 9 to 1 somewhere, like singing for 8 hours like that night.
Yeah, he's
I couldn't,
insane.
dude. Yeah, he's crazy. Like,
Kid's a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is.
yeah,
And I mean that in the nicest way possible. He's one of those guys that you just kind of look up to if you do get into that casino circuit. You want to be Travis. Everybody wants to be Travis Kidd.
Yeah.
Everybody. Of course, he can also run a 3-piece band and play the guitar, and he's a way better guitar player than I am.
me too, dude.
And he just does it all. So, but if you want to get into the casino circuit, then what you have to do is you got to know somebody, and you can't be afraid to beg.
As far as like booking, how does Blake go about booking whenever it comes to that kind of stuff? Do you already know kind of everybody personally, and you're just
Man,
kind of
I got really lucky. So whenever I got out of downtown country, I was playing a lot of acoustic shows, and I auditioned for, I shouldn't even say auditioned. Was called by a local band that was already playing in the casino circuits who had lost their lead singer. So they cold called me and asked me to come in and sing a couple songs with them at a practice. And once I got in with them, then they had some casino contacts.
Yeah.
And we did our own thing for about 4 years. And then I left that band and was able to hold on to some of those contacts and, frankly, a lot of the band, too.
Yeah.
And started booking as Blake Turner Band. And I still had a lot of those contacts from the casino. But that's what it takes. It takes having a friend of a friend that knows the number you need to call, and then don't stop calling that number if you want to get in a casino gig. And it's not like you're being needy. We're all needy. We're all starving musicians.
They just have way too many people contacting them
and
all the
they
time.
expect you to call them over and over and over again. Don't send an email with a EPK and then make one phone call and then
be like, oh, they didn't like me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I can't get into casinos.
Yeah.
You're not trying very hard. So, but once you get in, it's a great spot to be. I've worked really hard over the past few years, at least on the casino side, to be in a spot where they call me.
That's
now.
good.
Yeah.
That's good when they're calling you.
Yeah, they call me a lot of times, and I say no a lot because I've got an acoustic gig somewhere else. And I've been really lucky to do that. You know, once you get your foot in the door, do the best job you can, and then hope people like you. That's how you get in the casino. The way you keep the casino gig and every other gig is don't be a dick.
Be a nice guy, dude. Like,
yeah.
go shake hands, dude. Like, that's all, you know. Like,
I don't care
a
what
decent guy.
What
like,
you've read
of
your rock star hero
right.
being only wanting green M&Ms or being a diva or a douchebag or whatever. You need to be a pushover to start out. I mean, maybe not a pushover, but really damn close.
Yeah.
If they say, hey, I need you to be here at 6, and you can be there at 6, even if you don't want to be there at 6, you just say, all right, I'll be there at 6.
Right.
And then when you show up, you speak for your band. Do not let somebody else speak for you. Don't let your bass player that's on gig number 2 talk to the sound guy or talk to the contact from the venue, because if he's a dick, your name
on you. Yeah.
It reflects poorly on the whole band. And so
this is good, man. I'm glad you're getting right.
I mean,
into this.
it's that is my number one pet peeve, is if somebody in my band is rude or even not overly friendly. I want you to thank the soundman when you leave. Thank the soundman when they get there. I want you to be super easy to work with. I don't want your sound check to take you 45 minutes in your mix, because I will eventually have to walk over there and be like, it's fine. We're going to roll with it. And
just got to move on with it.
You got to be easy to work with, because everybody is looking for a reason to tell you no.
Don't
you know what I'm saying?
Give them one. Yeah,
everybody's it's already easy for them to say no thanks, because they've got so many people calling. You've got to give them only reasons to say yes, to where they can't go, well, he didn't really give me a reason to say no.
Exactly,
I don't have an easy out. Don't give them an easy out.
If somebody's trying to get into like more casino stuff, because outside of Travis, I think you've probably done more gigs than like anybody I know at a casino. Do you think that that's a good place? Do you have to be a huge artist to go play a casino? Because
No.
I know that if you played nothing but covers the whole entire time too, they'd be okay with it too. They almost encourage
So when I first got into casinos, I only played covers.
Yeah.
That's all we played, and we didn't do any original music. Now I do my originals
just kind of
because
sprinkle it in. Or
well, I've been
half
there,
and half.
and I've been doing it for so long. I'm playing the same venues a lot.
Yeah, so you started to build up a fan base. At these
Right,
casinos,
and so once you're that, and people come up and request your originals, that's always a
Yeah.
cool feeling. And so I'm able to play some originals. But no, you don't have to be a huge artist.
Yeah.
You don't. You have to. What you have to do is you have to sell them on the fact that you have a following, regardless of if you're huge. It's hard to start out in casinos. If your first gig is going to be at a casino, let me try to talk you out of that right now. Don't do that, because everybody's first gig always sucks.
Yeah.
Even if you think it's great, it's not.
And if it's starting to suck at the beginning, you don't want to be like,
Right.
well, we got 3 more hours of that.
Exactly. So, no, you don't have to be you have to have friends that are going to come support you at the casino, and preferably friends that drink a lot of alcohol.
There you go.
And make sure they make a lot
So
of
look
money
at those
at the
numbers
bar.
at the end of the night, and they'll be like,
Exactly.
well, we're going to have this guy back. You know, even if
Right.
even if he was kind of mean, we're still, I think, okay, so, and what do you, okay, here's something I was talking about on different podcasts. What do you think probably speaks more, niceness or numbers? Like, as far as like somebody that's doing the talent buying and that kind of stuff. Do you,
Well, if you're at a bar,
yeah,
numbers.
okay. You could be just a complete douchebag, and
I know a lot of them
sadly,
that do.
most of the time.
I know a lot of them that are jerks.
Yeah.
That show up with their same 80 people that follow them around and buy all the alcohol and have great nights, and the bar staff just puts up with it because the owner likes the way the numbers look when that band comes to play.
Right.
That is possible.
Sadly, but
Yes.
I was going to say that that's probably 80%, if not more, the case. Like, very seldomly will somebody be like, oh, no, they were mean, won't have them back. I've seen it happen before, but most of the time it'll be like, you know.
They did
probably-
really well here. The issue is that's not sustainable, though.
Right.
Because your following changes. The same 80 people are not going to come watch you that came and watched you 5 years ago.
Yeah.
They just don't. And it's not because they like you less. It's because they've been there, done that. So you've got to stay fresh somehow. And in order to stay fresh and keep a fresh band and keep the venues calling, you're eventually going to have to change the way you treat people.
Right.
Because your band's going to turn over. Your quality is going to drop if you're jerks to your band. So you have to be nice.
Yeah.
You just have to be. It's not sustainable. Sure, you can maybe make it work for a year and a half or 2 years.
Right.
But eventually the venue's going to be like, I'm sick of this person. I don't care that our numbers are good. But you can make it work for a little bit.
Right.
A year and a half, 2 numbers. Now, casinos,
Yeah.
look, they don't need your money. They don't.
Yeah.
They would love for you to come in
Right.
and have great numbers. But they've got people beating down the door to play at casinos. And if you show up and you're an ass, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
They don't care how much money they make.
Well, and the thing about casinos is like they make I don't want to say the attendance doesn't matter as much, but like when somebody comes into a casino, like say I have my friend and he comes and watches me at X venue, wherever, you know, he's going to pay to get in probably, and he's going to drink, you know, a few drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
But like those people at the casino, it's not, I guess you call it like double dipping or whatever, but they're not only are they buying drinks, but they're gambling too.
Yeah, they're playing games.
Yeah.
So at a bar, every person that walks through the door is good for $50.
Right.
Right? So they're going to pay the cover, and then an average person who consumes alcohol is probably going to spend, if it's a $15 cover, they might spend $35 at the bar.
Right.
Pretty easily. So there you go. That's a $50 person. Everybody that walks in the casino is a $300 guy. Everybody.
Yeah, so the attendance
Because they're
doesn't matter as
gambling,
much.
they don't care as
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
They don't care that there's only 50 people there, because those 50 people at the casino are worth, I can't do that math that fast,
Right.
Sam, but they're worth a lot. They're worth the same amount of money as just 300 people at a bar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the venues matter.
Yeah.
I try to act the same at every venue, but you can get away with more at other venues if you put butts in the seats.
Yeah. If you're a starting act,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just out of the blue, but like what does somebody need to be charging? Because I've heard so many people be like, I don't even know what to charge for like a 2-3 hour show or that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
man.
And if you're just like kind of getting out there, first of all, don't play for free.
I've never played for free.
Right. Never
That
play
is
for
the
free.
biggest thing. If you don't listen to anything else we say on this whole podcast, don't play for free.
Do not. Absolutely
because
not
you're
play for free.
screwing all of us
Yes.
when you play for
Yeah.
free. you pay for what you get, right?
Yeah.
That's the way everything's supposed to work. Unfortunately, that's not the way it always works, but you should be paying for what you get. I don't want to make the same amount of money as somebody that's been doing it for a week.
Yeah.
You know, I've put in a whole lot of time, and I've worked really hard to try to be good at what I do.
Right.
And I have a following, and so yeah, I don't want $50.
Yeah.
I want more than that. From my perspective, also, it's on the venue a little bit to step up and say, look, like a Doc Fell who's done it for years and years and years and has a really good following, he should probably make a little bit more money than somebody down the road that doesn't.
True.
So the venue needs to step up and say, we're not paying you a flat rate. We're going to pay you for who you are. We're going to look at your social media.
Right.
We're going to, how far are you driving? There's nuance. I just had a long conversation actually with one of the casino venues about this the other day, and they were trying to basically say, well, you made this much money, because they can look on the computers and say, you charged this much at this casino. Why are you charging this much for us? And I'm like, well, you're an hour and a half away.
Right.
And the other venue is 5 minutes from my house. So there's some nuance involved here. It's not, everything isn't black and white like that. There's a lot of gray area, and you book a lot of shows. Yeah. And I would assume that your gig that you play in Montana probably isn't going to pay the same as your gig that here in Tahlequah for a few different reasons.
Yeah.
You know, it might be more and it might be less, but there's a reason that you've decided that it's okay to play that price. And that's why I always say, so I'm nervous to go back to your original question.
My what I was trying to get at was two different things. One was either do not take a show for less than $100 if you're an acoustic act. Or
that's fair.
You don't, or $50 in food or something.
Yeah.
Like if you're, and I guess it kind of depends on I guess we're really just talking about people that are kind of starting out or whatever, because in a way it can kind of train.
Or do that, but do it once. Do it with the expectation and say, man, look, I'll come play for $50,
right.
But if you have a good night, when you call me next time, let's talk about it a little bit more. A lot of times musicians get so afraid to lose gigs that they'll
just accept whatever.
It's like, it's $20 in, $20 in beer. Yeah. And then they call guys like me or guys like John Fell or guys that have been doing it for a long time, and they're like, hey, we pay $20 in beer. And then I look like a douchebag because you're trying to big time us. It's like, no, I'm not trying to big time you. I'm okay with not playing your place if you don't want me to come play.
Right.
And you offering that amount of money is like you telling me you don't want me to come play. So I just got offered $50 to drive over to a town just not very far from here, but to drive $50 to play on a Friday night. And from somebody that I genuinely like.
Yeah.
I'd like to go play that gig, but I can't take a Friday night gig for $50.
Yeah. And dude, it doesn't do anybody any favors, I feel like, because there's some places that I'll go and book, and in different towns, I feel like it's like you almost get different rates. It's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. There's a rate around here, I guess, for acoustic or full band or whatever. But a lot of it has to also do with the surplus of musicians. But you take somewhere like Austin or Fort Worth or something, all these people that just want to play and stuff, and they'll just accept gig after gig. And these venues down there are just kind of used to being like, you get a percentage of the door, or
dude, you can't make money in Austin anymore.
Yeah. Oh no, you can't. We don't play in Austin.
It's free. You got to play for free. If you don't play in Austin, you're playing for free. And it's because it's so saturated with musicians that are willing to play for free, and they're good.
Right.
So that's where you run into that. It's like, I'm playing in Austin. I'm on playing on Rainey Street for no money.
Yeah.
And if you want to have that feather in your cap, my grandpa told me once that any trade where both parties end up happy is a good trade. So if somebody's willing to play for $25 and the venue's willing to pay them $25 and everybody has a good time, then who am I to say that they're wrong?
Right. Say it's a bad deal or whatever.
But I will say that they're wrong, because the venue can pay that same guy every night to come in and play for $25, but eventually people are going to want to hear something different.
Right. And you do get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
You know what I mean? And so, and you don't do anybody any favors whenever you're accepting gigs for just.
No.
You know what I mean? Like you don't. And if people want to be like, oh, well, I wish I made more money playing music, whatever. It's like you have to start charging more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. There wasn't a right or wrong answer, but what I was trying to get out of you was like,
Don't play for free.
Don't play for free.
Yeah,
that's
don't play
what I
for
was
free.
trying to get out of you. You know what I mean? Because it's like talking to somebody, or somebody was talking to Autumn one time whenever we were doing the whole Raglan thing, and they're like, so like, what do you guys charge a night? And then she's like, well, sometimes it's a few $100 for a few hours, or like for a festival or fair, it's like a number with a comma for 90 minutes. Like it doesn't. Yeah.
Do you want to know?
Matter. Like
I always tell people I can give you the most I've ever played for, and I can give you the least I've ever played for.
Yeah.
You're probably going to end up somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
And if I tell you the highest number, it's going to scare you away, and you're not going to pay me that.
Right.
And if I tell you the lowest number, it's going to scare me away, and I'm not going to play for that. So why don't you tell me what you think is fair?
What's your budget?
Right.
Just ask people, like, especially if it's kind of a venue that kind of already has, like I said, budget or private event or whatever. But
you need to have a number in mind,
right,
for sure. Something that you're not willing to go less than. You got to make your nut, as they say. So if your guys cost this much a night, and that's the way I do it. Not everybody does that the same way. My guys get paid the same every show. It doesn't matter what I make.
Right.
So
we've had this conversation, and you've taken home next to nothing.
I've taken home. I've paid out of pocket to play gigs.
Yeah.
I have. But you do that on very special occasions,
right,
like, I've got an opportunity to open for this band, and it's going to be good.
Most opening slots
are
going to be
not going to pay much.
Right.
Because you're splitting the bill with somebody.
Right.
So I've done that at times. I don't do that very often, but I have. And I always have to cover my nut. Always.
Yeah.
So that's my base. I have a base.
Do you think that people should try to say more than what they're actually worth so they can come down on it, and then actually kind of be like, okay, well, we'll cut you guys the deal and do for X amount less? Or do you think that they should be just completely upfront about it?
In my experience, it's better.
Venue people talk sometimes,
In my experience, it's better to not negotiate.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a way
you
like...
just say, this is what it is, this is what I have to do it for.
Yeah, so I just say, this is the number.
Right.
And then if they come back, whatever the second number is, I either say yes or no thank you and move on. You know what I mean? So right, if I say I'm going to play this wedding or whatever, I always overcharge for weddings.
You should, because
it's just
they don't
much
usually
stress.
Know how much live music costs.
They ask you to learn songs.
Yeah,
and
sure.
My gosh.
Yeah.
So let's just say, I'm just going to throw out a random number, and I may or may not have said this before in the past. So I say, I'll do your wedding for $2,500.
Okay.
And they say, I can't go any higher than 15.
That was like our budget's 15 or like whatever.
Our budget's 15. I'll go, all right, this one time I'll do it for $1,500.
I guess so. Only because you're a friend.
Right. Yeah. So, So I throw out a number, but I don't really negotiate. I don't get into I don't know, man, how's 2,000 sound? And then they come back, well, so it's 1,750. And because a lot of times they say yes.
Right.
On
Just
your first number.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes they say no. That's the risk you run.
Yeah.
But somebody else will call, or you'll keep calling and find somebody else that's willing to play. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're a musician or a painter,
right,
or if you're a damn, one of them people that contortionist. It doesn't matter. Whatever you are, somebody will pay you to do the thing that you want to do.
Okay, and that's another one too. So, like, I would safely say that, like, if you're a musician and you're not wanting to make a big, you don't want your name to be in lights and you know whatever. I would. It's kind of a side note. I would highly look at getting yourself a damn good band, and then try to get in the wedding casino.
Oh, you make so much money.
Oh, dude, you can make. I mean, going back to Travis, dude. Travis, like, I mean, he's been a big thing, and he still is a huge thing. But like, he's like, this is why change something? Because I mean, I do the math sometimes. And I'm like, that guy's, he'll post on his Facebook, and he's like 6 or 7 gigs this week, and I know what those pay.
Yeah, right.
Even for acoustic.
And you're like,
and
good for you.
I'm like,
good for you, man.
Yeah, so,
congratulations.
So Travis, if you're listening to this, man,
we all just want to be kid when we grow up.
You.
We all just want to be Travis when we grow up.
So let's talk about your other stuff, because I didn't mean to hop right into that. Blake is not just
I will hop into whatever you want me to hop into.
Band, but again, he's probably played more casinos than almost anybody I know, so I kind of wanted to throw that out there. Because I know a lot of musicians from Oklahoma are probably going to be listening to this, and so many bands are always like, oh, I want to get in this casino. And I just wanted to be like up front, like super up front.
Yeah.
This is what it is. It's kind of shitty sometimes. It's kind of good. Always pays the bills.
It's probably that way everywhere, but this is what we know, right?
But if you're just wanting to play, then you're gonna play.
You're gonna play. That's true.
So what about so your acoustic stuff and like what's going on next for you? We're gonna switch from booking and business stuff to like what's going on with Blake's career, and then we're gonna talk about some radio stuff.
Well, man, honestly, I COVID hit in 2020 and it hit everybody pretty hard, and I had lost all of my gigs, and I was freaking out because how am I going to pay?
Are you telling me that radio people don't get rich?
Look, it's not. We're not all raking it in over there in the radio side. I do have a good job.
Yeah.
But I was freaking out because I was living off a certain amount of income a year, and radio was just a piece of that, and then the band was another big piece of that. So completely had to pull everything off and reset. And then I started realizing I kind of like my Friday nights and Saturday nights at home a little bit.
It was good there for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I think I'm to the point where I really like being at home. I've worked really hard to be in a position to where people call me for gigs now. And I do call other people sometimes if there's a gig that I see and I want it.
But you're a pretty well-known person
in this area. Yeah. And so
in this area, look at you being all modest.
I'm in a good spot to where I can say no if I want to.
Right.
And not be too worried about the phone ringing the next day or not.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. People call me and I kind of weigh, do I want to play it? Do I not? Hey, let me call you back in a couple hours. And then I think about it, call them back, and nah, man, I think I'm just going to pass. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And they'll, well, if you got something in the future, let me know. I love acoustic gigs.
Right.
I love them. They're my favorite.
Because you don't have to make sure that the band knows it.
Yeah.
Ever.
I usually bring my guitar player with me. I shouldn't say my guitar player. A guitar player with me who's really good.
Yeah.
And we write some music together. And so I bring him with me a lot. And, man, it's just a jam. And they're more intimate shows. I can play original stuff. If you hook me up to a lie detector and ask me what career I wanted more than anything, I would say a songwriter. So
oh really?
Oh yeah, I don't really I like when I was younger and drinking and partying a lot, maybe the being the guy at the front of, as you mentioned earlier, somebody wants their name in lights.
Yeah.
That appealed to me, but as I get a little bit older, it doesn't really anymore. I realized
because you've been doing this even way before I even had.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time, and there's people that have been doing it a lot longer than me too. Yeah. But I think that I just realized as I got closer and closer that it wasn't fulfilling the thing that it wasn't doing what I thought I was going to do. I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna take a step back, and play the gigs I want to play and pay as I mentioned earlier, pay the soul instead of the bills a little bit. Because
there's so many people that even just like move to like Austin or Nashville, and they're like, get me the heck off the stage. I don't even want to. Yeah, I'd rather make 9% of whatever they're singing. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, like Stapleton, like that. I mean, he was like a songwriter for like a decade, very successful songwriter before it just became so much that people were like, who is this guy?
If somebody walked up to me and said, hey man, I like your songs, can I record them all? I would say, hell yeah, knock yourself out.
even if they weren't very good.
I mean, maybe none of them are any good. Yeah. I don't know.
No, I mean, like, even if the person wasn't very good. None of your songs.
Oh, well.
I've heard your songs. Your songs are good.
I don't know, man. If the right person walked up and asked me to record all my songs, maybe I would. But that's the ultimate goal. I would like to work to a place where I'm just writing songs and playing the shows to showcase my own songs that I've written, rather than be the make a living watching everybody else having fun.
Well, and that's like the gift that keeps on giving though too, dude. Is like if you can write a song and then it's just even in like this scene or the Nashville scene or whatever. I mean, I don't know if like a Corpus Christi Bay, that song was written in like the 90s or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he wrote that by himself, but he's gonna be making money off that for forever because that's
mailbox
just an anthem.
Money.
You know
mailbox
what I mean?
money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what Brendan Jenkins used to say, he's like, yeah, I love Stony Drew. I think about him every time I go to the mailbox.
Yeah,
because he cut like 3 or 4 of his songs or whatever. You know what I mean? So is that kind of your end goal? You think is probably being more of a songwriter, or if like the opportunity kind of came that it was like somebody wants to offer Blake Turner a record deal, or if you wanted to be on the road more?
No,
like,
at this point, if somebody offered me a record deal, I would turn it down.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. To be an artist, I would turn it down.
Really, was that?
Yeah.
Is that just for a whole different reason?
It's just I don't want to do that. Yeah. I don't want to be I don't want to be a front man. I don't want to be. I think there's I've gotten to a point where you can be an entertainer or you can be a or you can be an artist. And I think that I just want to be as freaking bougie as this sounds. I think I just want to be an artist, man. I don't want to stand up and smile if I'm not happy to be there.
Wow. I don't know. I just didn't know where you were at on everything.
Now, how much money are we talking? No.
Because I will sell out.
I will sell out. Look, everybody's got a price. No, I think, a publishing deal, that would be something else. I'd be excited about a publishing deal.
Yeah.
I would not be very excited. I mean, I would be flat. You never really know what you're going to do till it happens, right?
Yeah, true.
It's easy to sit here and be like, I'd turn it down if nobody's offering.
Yeah.
And nobody's
That's
offering.
true, yeah. I mean, but when it comes...
But right now, in this moment, I think I would probably say no.
And let's be real, like, in our music scene, the majority of anything that's considered a record deal is, like, obsolete just because of everybody can go to themselves independently to...
Yeah, unless you're signing to a major recording label.
Right.
You might as well be an independent artist anyway.
Yeah.
You're just paying somebody else to do the stuff you can do.
Exactly.
At that point.
And being an independent artist too, and that's what kind of this whole thing is about. Whether it's booking, getting your own music recorded, like radio promotion, all this stuff. Like you can do it all.
It's high risk, high reward
yourself.
To sign a label. It's high risk, high reward,
right.
And
yeah.
Security is sexy to me. So
yeah,
I don't know that
owning everything that you do.
Right, exactly.
Like, that's kind of like that.
That's something that appeals to me.
That's cool. I didn't know that because a lot of people, I know people that are 30s, 40s.
Hey, and this ride's not over. 3 years, it might change.
Yeah.
I might, kick it back into high gear and try to make something happen. But where I'm at right now, I really like where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm in a place now where people call me. Like I said, I can say no or I can say yes.
Yeah. I'm going to switch over to this here in a second, but like you just really like your job anyway because we've been
pretty
in there
content,
multiple times. You know what I mean?
I got a good job. My wife is cool.
Yeah. Your wife's pregnant?
My wife's pregnant.
That's crazy, man.
We're pretty sure it's mine.
We have a kid, but it was a whole situation. But like I couldn't even imagine like having a kid, just having to go through like
the pregnancy and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Did the last 9 months.
So weird. Their bodies change crazy ways.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, they're freaking superheroes.
Yeah.
Just in the 9 months that she's been carrying the baby, her body is changing so many crazy ways. It's fascinating to watch. Yeah. It's like, I never understand how people are weirded out by it. I'm just fascinated by the whole thing.
And
like, there's a human in there.
A year from now, we're gonna have to do another one of these, and because I want to talk to more people that are like musicians with kids and how to make it work and stuff like that.
People work full-time jobs, and for some reason, if you work a job as a traveling salesman, nobody's looking at you going, you need to stay home for the kids.
Right. Well, I'm
but
just
if you're a
me,
musician,
I miss home.
Well, yeah. Well, that's where I am. That's where
ever.
I am now. But I'm saying, like, public perception a lot of times just looks at musicians like, man, it's about time for them to hang that up because they got the kids at home, and there's probably some validity to that, but nobody's saying that to the guy that goes and works the oil rig for 2 weeks and then comes home, and or the long haul truck driver that's gone for 4 weeks at a time, like my dad was, and there's just, it's all stupid. Yeah, it's all, do whatever if you can sleep at night and everybody's happy, fuck them.
So we're gonna hop into the kind of the main reason that everybody's wanting to listen to this. This is the icing on the cake or the finale of this whole podcast. So Blake is a radio DJ, and you guys are going to get to hear firsthand what the do's and don'ts if you're an artist.
Yeah.
And this is the main reason I wanted to bring Blake in here. Okay, so first of all, what is the best way to not get played on the radio? Let's just start with that.
That's easy. Cut corners on production.
Okay.
That is the easiest way to not get played on the radio. The song, I don't care if you bring me The Dance by Garth Brooks. If the production quality sucks, it's not going to get played on the radio. It does not matter. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's a certain caliber of production that is required for radio play. And if you don't meet that, like my radio station, we play everything from Eric Church all the way down to 2000 Pat Green. I mean, we play a large variety of music, and the one thing that they all have in common is that they all have good production quality.
Right.
All of them. Now, subjectively, there might be one song that's better than another song, but they all meet the same requirements for a well-produced song.
Okay.
The drums sound like they were recorded professionally. The acoustic guitar is not direct in, it's mic'd. All of that stuff is stuff that you And if it is direct in, they hit it really freaking well. You know what I'm saying?
And you can tell. I think most radio DJs can probably tell like every little individual.
Most people that's been in the
Because
studio.
you listen to
Yeah.
for 8 hours a day or whatever. Yeah.
I can tell you, I can guess if you give me 3 questions, I can tell you how much you paid per song. It's so obvious when people skim on, or they're like, oh, I'm not going to get mixed and mastered, or I'm going to do it myself. Right. It's like, hey,
seen that. Yeah.
Get it mixed and mastered, man. Come on. It's worth it to spend that extra bit of money.
Right.
A really good song, unless you've got some friends doing you some major favors, you need to expect to pay anywhere between, on the independent circuit, anywhere between $800 and $1,200 per song. If you're going in cold and you don't, if not more,
because if you're talking about session players and stuff, that's
right. That's what I'm saying. If you have friends that are, unless you're going to play everything yourself,
right,
or you know somebody with a studio that is really good at their job, and you're going to spend some money on a song, and it's worth it. I didn't record an EP for 9 years.
You told me that like you just recently, probably like, was it 2 or 3 years
2018 ago? I put out my first EP.
Yeah, because you just would not.
No, yeah. I was so, because I'd been in radio long enough to know that this stuff is not good enough.
Right.
And so it took me that long to find all of the right pieces that matched up with my budget, where I could get a good production quality. If your production sucks,
doesn't matter who you are.
It doesn't matter who you are.
It might matter.
No, it doesn't.
Are you serious? It just does not matter.
If Blake Shelton sends me a song and the production sucks on it, we're not playing it.
All right. There you go.
We just will. Tanya Tucker. Sorry, Tanya, if you're listening to this. She released a song last year that was Bring Me Flowers. What was it? Bring My Flowers Now While I'm Still Living, or something like that.
Yeah. Was that the duet she did with Sony?
Good song. I don't know. No, it wasn't this dude. It was one that Brandy Carlisle wrote the song.
Oh, okay.
Brandy Carlisle's a freak of nature. She's amazing. The production sucked. We didn't play it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Some radio stations did. There's not very many that did. Or Tanya Tucker probably would have had a number 1 hit on her hands, but they didn't do what they needed to do production-wise.
For those who don't know, you guys are a TRRR station. What is that?
So that's the Texas Regional Radio Music Report.
And there's other...
Sure, yeah. So we report to CDX, we report to CDTex, and we report to T3R.
Okay.
I'm the program director that's in charge of reporting to T3R, which is the Texas Regional Radio Music Report.
Yeah. It's tongue twister.
Yeah.
And if somebody's wanting to get their music played, true or false, they need to come to you. They don't need to go to person at the front desk, whoever else. Like, who do they need to go to if they're trying to get their music played? You're
not going to like this next question, but I'm going to answer a question with a question.
Okay.
Are you asking me if they need to come directly to me, or they need to get a promoter, or are you saying are you asking me if they're skipping the promoter, who they need to come talk to?
Here's my question. I want to answer your
Okay, let's go question for question.
At every single station, who is the one person that makes the final
PD
list? Okay.
Program director.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's me.
So whenever people, and this kind of goes back into like things that you will hear being a musician at a bar. My friend works at a radio station. They get you playing the radio. Turns out, nothing against these people, but they just sell ads. They can't get you played on the radio. They might be able to be like, oh, I have a friend that, and maybe in some stations.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
they can suggest.
Right.
They can suggest strongly.
Yeah.
And if they bring a good enough song, then I might listen to it. But you gotta make sure that the program director, and there are 2. So myself and Will Payne, we both run the music for our station.
Yep.
And I report to T3R, and he reports to basically everything else.
Right.
And if neither one of us hear your song ever,
and that's the first
I
time.
can guarantee you with 100% certainty it's not getting played on the radio. Because if he didn't hear it and I didn't hear it, there's no chance.
Yeah.
0% chance.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was just trying to.
And that chance goes up a little bit if we hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we get a lot of songs submitted.
That's another thing too. Is it okay for somebody to reach out to the PD?
Sure.
About
yeah, absolutely. You can always call and you can always ask. So every PD does it differently. Some take calls, some don't take calls. Some prefer email. and some do both. I do both. I'm a guy that send me an email and then call me and remind me that you sent me an email. I work better that way. But most PDs, if they're going to take music calls, they have a set time that they take those calls.
So that's what I was going to ask. If somebody's wanting to get their song played on y'all station, like, or any station, is it okay, acceptable for a musician to call and say, what time does the PD take phone calls?
Yes.
Or just to talk? Okay.
Absolutely.
Is it for them to just...
Don't just call the station and say, is Blake available? Because as soon as I get on the phone, we take a lot of different calls for a lot of different reasons.
Right.
So as soon as I get on the call and I hear it's a music call, my first thought is, this is not my music call time. This is not my music call day.
Right.
And I've checked out. And I might even say, hey, man, I take music calls, Wednesdays, whatever. But, yeah, you have to be – somebody else will usually answer the phone.
Right.
And you just say, hey, are they available? And if will they take music calls now? And if they won't, when will they?
Yep.
Can I get the email? And so that's the best way to do it.
Okay.
And then don't stop.
Yeah.
Until you get a for sure answer. Now, if we say no, that's not changing. It's just not.
Either because they're not, I don't want to say the status, or it could be because of production, or it could be...
It could be there are a ton of different reasons that we say no. It could be I don't think that our listeners would get this song. Maybe it's got a line that we think wouldn't connect well with our listener base. Right. Maybe it's you're trying to release a winter song in summertime.
Yeah.
I mean, everything matters. And so we might just say, now if we say not now, that means not now. Submit it again later.
Right.
But if we say yes, it's in. And if we say no, it's not in now and it's not going to get in later.
Yeah.
So just cut your losses and move on to the next station. We're not trying not to be dicks, but we hear a lot of different songs from a lot of different people. So we want to be as straight up as possible.
True or false? If you have to go to somebody and try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Justify why something sounds the way it does, do not submit it. True or false?
Exactly.
Okay.
True.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got to sell it,
right.
A good song sells itself.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
You shouldn't have to be like, all right, now I know that this is happening, but the reason we did that, I'm out.
Right.
Stop. If you already know that it's not good enough, don't bring it to me, because you're putting me in a position to tell you something you don't want to hear.
And then next time
I'm going to tell you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be the guy. Yeah. I will. But that's the number one thing. I don't care. I play a lot of songs that are not very good songs, lyrically, or maybe they're just not good songs. Whatever, they're not good, but the production quality is good.
So you have,
and people like this artist, so it makes the cut.
Yeah,
and that's just the wet nature of the beast. We got to play those artists.
There's a fine line between being persistent and being annoying for a musician? I'm sure maybe that. I don't know if you guys
that's
get a
for
lot of,
all just people in life.
What should they not do other than calling at, like, I think the best thing to do is probably call and just try to, hopefully you don't pick up and then ask when you're, you know what I mean? But, like, what are some other things to avoid being a musician? Because every musician wants to be on the radio. You want to
Sure.
So, like, what are some things, like red flags?
Well, so I had one guy call me up, and I told him no because the production quality wasn't good enough.
Right.
And so then he sent another song that was the same quality off the same EP, and I said no. And he said, well, I'll just send you my whole EP, and
tell me which one.
Pick one, and then I'll push that as my radio single.
Yeah.
And finally I called him, and there was a lot back and forth. And finally I called him and I said, man, I am not your manager and I am not your promoter. The quality on this EP is not good enough for our radio station. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
I think that you're good. I think you're a talented guy, but what you're doing here is not, you don't want me to play this. You want this to be the first thing that people hear about you, because it's not going to be good.
It's not going to benefit you.
Right. No, the first impressions matter.
Right.
And the very first song I ever heard of this guy is going to be this terrible production quality that makes his voice sound super tinny and nasal. And
you think that next time that he reaches out to you,
here's this guy again.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because it didn't end.
Yeah, I might listen to him, but man, here's this guy. We cannot do anything without musicians. From the radio side.
Right.
We can't do anything without the artists, right? So we are there to work with artists. But artists also need to recognize that we're important for their careers. Like, you need radio play to get gigs, right? So you need radio play to get gigs, and we need artists so we have something to play on our radio station. Easy enough. If you come in for an artist interview, and a lot of radio stations take artist interviews, there needs to be an element of we appreciate each other.
Yeah.
You're not doing me a favor by coming in, or at least you are doing me a favor, but I'm also doing you a favor by letting you come in. And there needs to be a certain level of, and you're really good about it actually, of just, hey man, thanks for letting me come in. How, are we staying too long or we're not staying too long? And it's
because it's weird.
And it's like, well,
I'll sit there and just BS with you for a second. I'm like, let me know when you're ready back.
But you're never like in the way.
Yeah.
But some artists come in and they're like, look at me.
Right.
And I mean, for every artist I've ever had in my studio, I've had somebody quote unquote bigger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
you'd probably say, and this kind of goes back into the venue thing, most venue and probably other musicians, to be fair, and radio people, most people in the music industry aren't impressed. They're more impressed with how good you are and how nice you are. And, you know what I mean? Like,
this business is run on relationships and networking. This is not a sport where everything is based on performance. It would be great if it were, because that means that the right ones were getting the opportunity.
Yeah. Go to Nashville.
Yeah.
And be a player.
Yeah.
Like,
it'd be great because that means the right people were getting the right opportunities,
right.
But that's not the nature of the beast, and we're not going to change the game at this point. So you got to learn how to play it, and that's by treating people the way you would want to be treated. I mean, it's the golden rule, really. Just be nice. You don't have to be, you can still be true to yourself. Just don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
I think that goes so far in everything that you do, whether it be as a musician or as a person that's trying to get in the radio business, or maybe you're out there listening and you're just listening because you like to hear about independent artists, and you're not an independent artist and you just want to be, I don't know, a school teacher. Well, it's really easy to fire a jerk. So no matter what it is, there you
go. Yeah.
Be hard to fire all the time.
Explain what a record promoter is and what they do for you, realistically how much they cost for people that don't know, and benefits of having one, or how you can do it yourself, or take it away. Okay,
unless I know you personally, I'm not going to listen to your song unless you have a radio promoter. I'm not. Because if we open it up for every single independent artist to call us and take calls from everybody, we would never stop taking calls. So what a radio promoter does is they streamline it. They know they've already done all the legwork for you. They know what PD takes calls, what PD takes emails, what PD you have to call and say thank you to.
And they've built relationships with these people over the years.
What PDs they have to call and say thank you to after they get ads, like the artist has to come and say thank you to. What PDs will only add your song if you do an on-air interview with that PD. All of those things have already been discovered by your radio promoter. So it streamlines that process, and it makes you not have to do as much legwork. And if you're already doing your own booking and you're writing your own songs and you're dealing with all the expenses of being an independent artist, it's just one less thing that you have to do.
Right.
Now, you have to pay for that, right? And they're not cheap.
Yeah.
They're not. If you get a really good one, it has a waiting list.
Right.
So
I talked to one the other day, and I think we're probably talking about the same girl.
Possibly.
And in order for her to even work for us, it's going to be 2022, and the quality is going to have to be out of this world.
Yeah. So exactly. Production quality, right?
I think we're probably talking about the same.
I'm sure we are.
Yeah.
She's very good.
Yes.
She's the best.
And that's another thing, too. Like, when you get a radio promoter, in a sense, I guess kind of like what we're both saying is the same people that comes at you with Wade Bowen and Casey Donahue's new music, hands you this new artist and says, here's this new artist.
Right. They're
You're
bringing
probably going to be like, I'm going to probably play this.
They're bringing street cred.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
They've got
because
the cred.
because people are probably listening to me like, I can do all those things.
Yeah.
But if you have a relationship with the person that we're talking about, and then, and like somebody comes at you with, she comes at you with, hey, there's this new Blake Turner song that, I want you to hear. Like, you're probably going to.
Yeah. Well, what they say is, hey, I got this new one that I think you would like. I think will go over really well on your station. And they're usually right.
Yeah.
And so when they say that,
you built this trust with this.
Yeah,
promoter.
you kind of go, oh, all right. And then you also recognize that they have a bunch of artists that they don't pitch you.
Right.
So you appreciate that. Oh, I'm not going to play this person, so you don't pitch it.
Yeah.
You pitch it to everybody else, but you don't pitch them to me.
You don't have to hold that cat, man.
I like the cat, man.
Okay,
We're
cool.
Chilling.
I don't know if you guys could hear, but like we have Kiddo and dogs barking and the cat finally came in here and stuff. So,
oh, well, I was going to put the mic down there, but I'm not going to.
So yeah, money wise, like what do you, from what you know?
From what I know,
give me a range from the. Here's the cheapest promoter. That
you could probably tell me how much you've paid because I know you've dealt with a promoter before.
I've paid $5,000 3 times.
Okay, so I would say that
normal,
you're going to pay anywhere between $3,500 and $10,000.
Right.
I mean,
and the thing is this is not only for Texas Red Dirt music. This is also if you're Americana, you can do that. If even in the rock and pop and stuff like that. Most of the time those bigger labels have the connection with the promoters. You can't just call those promoters. But like this is kind of, I'd say this is kind of how the radio thing works with pretty much all genres, but.
And the price varies, and it usually varies by lineup.
Right.
Who else that person is promoting, what they've done in the past.
Because they don't want to mess up their.
No. That's why. And also a promoter, you're paying them to be honest with you, right?
Right.
You're paying them to say, this quality's got to be better. You're paying them to say, this is a summer song, not a winter song. You're doing all those things.
Which is a whole nother podcast. And
right. So the PD doesn't have to tell you those things. The PD appreciates the radio promoter so much because we don't have to worry about hurting some poor 19-year-old kid's feelings that brings in the only song they've ever written and it's their baby. And because the promoter's already been like, hey, this isn't good enough.
Right.
And so we really appreciate the promoters. And it makes me have to take 15 calls on promoter day rather than, literally hundreds of calls.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
So, the radio promoter, if you have the money, is worth it. But you have to have the money. They are not cheap. But I would say if having a radio single matters to you, saving the money for a promoter is a good idea.
Right. And then after a while, you could do it by yourself if you've built the right connections.
If you've built the right connections and you've built the name, you got to have a name. So if your promoter does a good job, they can work themselves out of a job.
For sure. There you go. And that's literally what our last promoter said. Anyway, y'all, this is Blake Turner, and I appreciate you coming over, Blake.
Absolutely.
And this is kind of weird. We're flopped. It's usually you interviewing us.
Yeah, normally I'm the one asking questions.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool though. I don't ever get to answer questions.
It's weird.
I'm a blowhard though. I talk all the time. So even if I don't get asked questions, I give my opinion. Yeah, it's like my fatal flaw.
We're gonna have to do this again because man, there's some things that we kind of brought up, and in my head I'm just like, oh man, I really want to kind of elaborate on that, but I got date night and I got to take kiddo to a baseball game and all that kind of stuff. So that stuff.
Anytime, man, holler at me. I'm right down the road, so
all right, man.
Pretty easy to get here.
Well, this is the Independent Musician's Guide, and this is episode 3 with Blake Turner, and I'll link his stuff down below if you want to check it out. And at the end of every episode, I'm like linking in music that I think is like really cool, and it's usually just independent music.
Okay,
I'm gonna play that at the end.
Any mine you want.
Okay, cool. All right, well, so y'all are now listening to Blake Turner. Here we go.
Cowboy boots covered in mud, a guitar with an extra hole. that he got from a wide-eyed, overzealous teen playing Mama Trident Thunder Road. Those New Jersey back streets, honky-tonk backbeats laid the blueprint of my soul. I'm on fire with that white line fever, going where the lonely go. Found my heart in Nebraska, my hope on Kern River, singing songs about American dreams. The strangers in East Street, t-shirts and blue jeans, Haggard and Springsteen. Oh, now me and the boys skip frets down on Morgan while some troubadours watch from the back. And we opened up for free, so we hope to make our money selling t-shirts and trucker caps. I hope the ghost of old time Jody's holding Bobby Jean up in the stars, and Pancho's got his arm around Rosalita, and they're all dancing in the dark. I was born to run with that rambling fever to the land of hope and dreams, with the strangers in East Street, t-shirts and blue jeans, Haggard and Springsteen. Now the boss still rules from my hometown to Broadway, and Hag's just a spirit in the night. But they've both given more than enough to feed our hungry hearts and eyes. My glory days and my favorite memories are all somewhere between. The strangers in East Street, t-shirts and blue jeans, Haggard and Springsteen.